On November 28, 2023. Not so long ago. According to the UK's Daily Mail, the US Central Intelligence Agency's CIA affiliate, the CIA's Office of Global Access, has been assisting the US government since 2003, and targeting for the recovery of unidentified flying objects. It's called a top-secret operation. According to these CIA sources, has recovered at least 9 non-human craft, 7 of which suffered varying degrees of damage during the crash. With varying degrees of damage. The other 2 are intact. In addition to that, these 3 anonymous informants from the CIA have come up with an even more shocking revelation. It turns out that there are aliens inside these craft. With aliens inside. So it's not a UFO as many people think. It's just an alien probe. Or a drone or something. But there really are non-human pilots inside. According to the top-secret information they've seen in the hands of the US government. The US government already has at least 10 dead aliens in its possession. And these aliens are of very different types. There's evidence that they're not from a single race. And this evidence? It proves once again that the US has been secretly recovering UFOs and aliens. The identities of the 3 informants have been verified by the Daily Mail, are from an organization called the Office of Global Access, which is part of the CIA. The CIA's Office of Global Access. What is this Office of Global Access? What exactly is it? According to the National Archives and Records Administration, NARA, in December of 2016, the OGA is indeed a part of the CIA. OGA is indeed one of the 56 offices of the Central Intelligence Agency. One of the 56 offices of the CIA. The U.S. Central Intelligence Agency also in October 2015 released an unclassified organizational chart. And therein, OGA is listed as one of 9 offices within the agency's Science and Technology Division. And this department has 2 government officials at the director level. Its core business is to integrate and analyze technology and intelligence gathered from around the world, to provide the federal government with the most advanced technology. But if the purpose is to collect the most advanced technology, then these unidentified flying objects are beyond recognition. Wouldn't be more appropriate. It's just that the technology of these craft is clearly beyond our knowledge. How did the US government accomplish the ultimate recovery mission? To accomplish the final retrieval? According to an anonymous CIA source, in the CIA's Advanced Intelligence System. This system that can scan and recognize UFOs while they're still invisible, while they're still cloaked. That's why we're sometimes puzzled. There are so many UFOs flying and then disappearing, right? So you wonder where they go. Some people say it's a projection, that the image you saw was fake. Some people think it's a projection. It's this UFO. It distorted the surrounding space-time. It created a crack in space-time. And it drilled into it. But in fact, the answer could be very simple and direct. It's probably what the source said. The reason why they're looking at our visuals, or from our visual data, suddenly disappeared, could be just because they turned on the invisible function again. What's the source saying? In the event of an accidental crash, the military's special forces will be dispatched, will be sent in to salvage the wreckage. Although the CIA's subordinate organization, the Office of Global Access, will also be involved in some of the recovery missions. But these recovery missions are more traditional, like off-target nuclear weapons, shot down satellites, etc. This kind of recovery involves an alien spacecraft, usually, would be handed over to the military's special forces to carry out the operation. like the Pentagon's Special Operations Command, Navy SEALs under the Pentagon Special Operations Command, Delta Special Forces, and emergency support teams. They'll be working together to recover crashed UFOs. According to these three CIA sources, these recovered aircraft are classified and stored by the CIA. The operation to dispose of the UFO debris and materials. It's more like an investment portfolio. Radioactive materials. It will be sent to a national laboratory under the Department of Energy. And there is no radioactive material. And the intact vehicle are usually recovered and turned over to private aerospace contractors for analysis, to avoid strict government scrutiny and protect trade secrets. On this list, Lockheed Martin and the oil pumping plant. For those of you who follow military affairs more closely, shouldn't be unfamiliar with this name. This Lockheed Martin? It's an American aerospace manufacturer. It's famous for developing and manufacturing military aircraft, like the famous UR-F-35, F-117 and so on. All of them are developed by them. In terms of turnover, Lockheed Martin is the world's largest defense contractor. Lockheed Martin is the largest defense contractor in the world. The late former Majority Leader of the U.S. Senate, Harry Reid, said in 2021 that the U.S. defense company Lockheed Martin is one of the private contractors that owns the UFO debris. Of the private contractors that own the UFO debris and materials. He said that over the years, I've been told that the company has been involved and researching these recycled materials. And Reid added that even when he was the leader of the majority party, the Pentagon, the U.S. Department of Defense, wouldn't allow himself to see the recovered debris and the materials that were recovered. That's why even he couldn't get in touch with them. Then ordinary people like us, it's even more impossible. As more and more military, intelligence and government officials are testifying of unidentified flying objects, is drawing more and more attention from Congress. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has said, it seems like there's always a group of lawmakers. That there always seems to be a group of lawmakers that will go to great lengths to prevent government transparency and prevent the general public from seeing the truth about UFOs and aliens. This summer, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, after retired Air Force officer David Grusch testified before Congress, he introduced a bill on unidentified flying objects. And this bill? It's designed to increase the transparency of unidentified flying object reporting. The bill has now passed the Senate. And this bill requires the U.S. government to disclose recovered technology of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence, all of which seem to support the idea that the U.S. government is indeed secretly recovering and researching of these unidentified flying objects. And even in their possession. They're even in possession of non-human beings from a distant galaxy. More information about the U.S. government's possession of non-human beings in the hands of the U.S. government. David Grusch did not dare to disclose it at the hearing. Rather, he presented the evidence he had gathered over the years to Congress and the intelligence community. He presented the evidence he'd gathered over the years to Congress and the Inspector General of Intelligence. Perhaps because the reports and the evidence had disappeared. Or maybe it was because he was afraid the shadow government would kill and silence him. After David Grusch gave his testimony in Congress, David Grusch claimed on Joe Rogan's podcast that the U.S. government has long been in contact with extraterrestrial beings, and that it has maintained some form of interaction with extraterrestrials for a long time. Mr. Grusch said that in the course of his official duties, that the government was carrying out a decades-long program to retrieve unidentified flying objects. and a reverse research program on unidentified flying objects. These programs weren't just started in the last few years. They've been in full operation for decades. But when he asked to participate in the program, he was verbally denied. After 14 years in the U.S. Intelligence Department, as a senior intelligence officer, he was fortunate enough to have access to a great deal of information. To a great deal of classified information that was out of the reach of the general public. He knew that someone was trying to reverse engineer an alien spacecraft. In an attempt to reverse engineer an alien spacecraft, he also knows that there are intelligence officials with higher levels of secrecy who had contact with the inhuman extraterrestrials. After collecting a lot of information of unidentified flying objects and extraterrestrials, David Grusk presented this evidence to Congress, but was then retaliated against by government officials. Washington would retaliate, and even get rid of those who know too much, who knew too much and didn't do what they were told. David testified that a massive cover-up was carried out. Unfortunately, is taking place at this very moment. Any military personnel attempting to talk about unidentified flying objects or aliens will be met with brutal retaliation. This was not surprising during his time in the military. He and many of his colleagues were subjected to aggressive and systematic acts of brutal retaliation. For this reason, many insiders have reached a tacit agreement. For the safety of themselves and their families, and for the sake of their career, everyone will keep their mouths shut and stay out of the water as much as possible. He told the subcommittee, "I do understand the aggressive, systematic retaliation against myself and other colleagues. These acts of retaliation couldn't hide the truth of what was going on." David testified under oath before Congress that he was 100% certain that the U.S. government has in its possession, that the U.S. government not only has all kinds of unidentified flying objects, they've even got all sorts of inhuman alien corpses. These creatures have been heavily studied from all over the globe. The U.S. government has been reverse engineering. The U.S. government has been drilling into alien technology, and through imitation and other means, the U.S. technology has improved rapidly. The results of these significant improvements have been applied to the military. So what can we tell? That the reports of Grusk and others focused on whether or not the U.S. has acquired an alien spacecraft, or even captured aliens, and whether or not they've conducted reverse research of this advanced technology. Except in 2019, the Pentagon took the unprecedented step of admitting that UFOs are real. The rest of the evidence, the Pentagon has been very quiet about it. It's no wonder. Reid, the former majority leader of the U.S. House of Representatives, he once said, Lockheed Martin, the company responsible for the development of the F-35 and other top weapons, Lockheed Martin was involved in a recycling program for UFO materials. But even someone in his position wouldn't know much more than that. Even as a congressional leader, he was denied access to the tsunami building. That's why it's believed. Do you believe that Garish still has a tip from someone inside the CIA? Do you think the US government has any UFOs or aliens in their hands? What are the odds that we're living in Truman's world? That we're living in Truman's world? Well, that's it for today's installment. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.